They say knowledge is power. But what if it's actually your greatest curse? What if being too smart is exactly why the world keeps turning its back on you? It doesn't matter how much you know, how sharp your thinking is, or how many layers of truth you've peeled back, because sometimes the sharper your mind, the lonelier you become. Ever wonder why the most intelligent people often end up isolated? Why the ones who truly grasp how the world works often find themselves walking alone? That's not an accident. If you constantly feel like every conversation is a minefield where you have to tiptoe around your own thoughts just to avoid making others uncomfortable, then pay close attention. Arthur Schopenhauer saw it all coming. To him, intelligence wasn't always a gift, especially not in a world built by men who fear being outshined. What feels like pure clarity to you? To others, it's a sharp, humiliating mirror. What simple logic in your eyes feels like an attack to someone else's ego? Because here's the hard truth. People aren't looking for truth. They're looking for comfort. Think about how many times you've said something plainly obvious, only to be met with blank stares or quiet hostility. How often have you corrected someone thinking you were helping, only to feel their resentment grow instead of their gratitude? That's the trap. Raw intelligence, when shown without filter, doesn't inspire. It intimidates. It provokes envy. It creates distance. And that's where so many brilliant minds go wrong. Knowing the truth isn't enough. You have to know when to use it, how to present it, and, more importantly, when to hold it back. Schopenhauer called it the art of pretending to be a fool. Not because you are foolish, but because there are moments when playing small is your strongest move. This doesn't mean dumbing yourself down. It means using your intelligence strategically. Want respect? Don't flaunt. Want influence? Don't correct every slip-up. Want to be heard? Don't shine so brightly that others feel burned in your presence. Let others think they found the truth on their own. Step back, plant a seed, and watch it bloom in their minds, as if it were their idea all along. Those who rise in the world, they're not always the smartest in the room. They're the ones who know how to move quietly in the dance of human interaction, who've mastered the art of subtlety, who understand that the truth, if handled recklessly, becomes a blade. The envy of mediocre minds can become a wall no genius can climb. And no, this doesn't mean you should shrink into the crowd or abandon your brilliance. It means be clever, be quiet, be calculated, because real intelligence isn't proven in debates or displayed for admiration. It's measured in knowing exactly when to speak and when to pretend you didn't notice the obvious. Picture this. You're in a meeting. Someone says something absolutely ridiculous. Every cell in your body wants to correct them, to drop the truth like a mic and walk out a hero. But what would that really do? Will you enlighten them, change their worldview, or just awaken their resentment? And watch them label you as arrogant, cold, or dismissive. No one likes being made to feel stupid, so instead, you nod, you smile faintly, you let the moment pass. Not because you're spineless, but because you're wise enough to know that not all battles are worth winning. Schopenhauer said it with brutal honesty. Fools often thrive in society not because they're better, but because the world is built to protect the comfortable. Mediocrity feels safe. The average protect each other. They promote one another. They climb, while the brilliant, if they're not strategic, get left behind. So the real game, it's not about becoming one of them. It's about mastering the balance. knowing when to shine, and when to dim your light just enough to let others feel like they're not in your shadow, lower their expectations, mask your strength, and when the moment comes, strike like thunder from a clear sky. This is not deception, this is power disguised as humility. Throughout history, the greatest minds, the true masters of strategy, never revealed their full capacity too soon. They moved quietly. They acted simply. They let others assume they were ordinary until the moment came to be extraordinary. Napoleon, Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, they all shared a dangerous brilliance, and they all understood this vital law. Hide your strength until it becomes impossible to ignore. Because here's the brutal truth. If the world sees you as too brilliant, it won't celebrate you. It will fear you. It will try to silence you. And if you don't protect your power with cunning and restraint, the very thing that makes you exceptional will be used against you. Show too much wisdom, they'll try to mock you. Reveal too much genius, they'll try to bring you down, not because you're wrong, but because their fragile egos can't handle your light. So what do? You play the long game. You tone it down. You present yourself as approachable, harmless even, all while observing everything, calculating quietly, preparing your real move. That's not cowardice. That's strategy. You want to survive in a world that rewards mediocrity? Then don't challenge mediocrity head on. Move around it. Learn to disappear in plain sight. Blend into the background until it's time to step forward. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to show how right you are. You don't need to prove anything, because real power proves itself in the results, not in the noise. Uncontrolled intelligence is a curse, but precision-managed intelligence, that's a lethal advantage. So the next time you're surrounded by ignorance, when the conversation is shallow and the room isn't ready for truth, don't waste your brilliance. Let them speak. Let them underestimate you. Let them write you off. Because when it truly matters, when the stakes are real, you'll be ready, and they won't see it coming. But let's go deeper. Pretending to be the fool. That's just the first layer, the beginner's mask. The gateway to something far more potent, strategic invisibility. Ask yourself, who wields real power? Is it the loudest person in the room or the quiet figure in the corner pulling the strings? The answer is obvious. People fear what they don't see. They can't attack what they don't understand. They can't stop what they don't notice. If you blend in, if you walk among them as just another shadow, you gain a freedom they will never comprehend. You avoid enemies. You avoid envy. You avoid sabotage. The true masters, they don't chase recognition. They don't post every move. They don't shout their victories. They whisper their plans. They work while others perform. And when they finally act, it's already too late for anyone else to react. Even in nature, this principle dominates. The deadliest predators, they don't announce themselves. The snake coils in silence. The tiger waits in stillness. The sniper never reveals their position, because in war, in the wild, and in life, stealth is power. And here's the beautiful part. When you fly under the radar, no one sees you as competition. They leave you alone. They get comfortable. They expose their weaknesses. While they fight each other for attention, you prepare the final move. Their mistakes broadcast to the world. Yours, hidden in shadow. So when you fail, no one mocks you. But when you succeed, it comes like lightning. Unexpected, unstoppable, unforgettable. Power doesn't belong to those who shout the loudest. It belongs to those who choose the perfect moment to speak. Silence, patience, and perception. That's how you win without fighting. This is how the real game is played. But don't get it twisted. Invisibility is not the same as irrelevance. It's not about vanishing. It's about timing. About being seen only when it matters most, when your presence creates impact, not just noise. Think of the real leaders, the true geniuses. They're not on every stage. They're not in every debate. They don't chase attention or engage in endless battles of ego. Instead, they observe. They wait. They build quietly in the background until the right moment arrives. And then they strike with precision when it's too late for anyone to stop them. Meanwhile, most people burn themselves out trying to prove they matter. They scream for recognition. They chase validation. They want the world to know how intelligent they are. But in doing so, they become exposed. Their mistakes are public. Their intentions are transparent. And their power easily blocked. If you want to master this strategy, here's what you must learn. Play with time. Don't rush. Don't empty your arsenal in the first battle. Hold back. Watch. Learn. Let others reveal their insecurities, their flaws, their blind spots, while you keep your power hidden beneath a calm surface. Patience isn't just a virtue. It's a weapon. One of the most underestimated tools in the entire game. Most people? Impatient, impulsive, always chasing the next win, the next high, the next applause. But a true strategist waits. Napoleon once said, "Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake." And that's the secret. People constantly reveal themselves. They show their fear. They show their arrogance. They make mistakes out loud. All you have to do is watch. And when the time comes, act with such clarity and force that nothing can stand in your way. Stop worrying about being seen. Stop chasing applause. Stop showing off what you know. Start thinking like a player in a much larger game. Because while others are busy broadcasting, you'll be positioning. And that positioning will make you invisible, unreachable, unstoppable. Now we enter a deeper layer of the game. Perception. Pretending to be a fool. That's not just a shield. It's not just protection. It's a weapon, a psychological tool to control the narrative around you. Let's be clear. The world doesn't treat you based on your truth. It treats you based on your image. You could be the most brilliant person in the room, but if they see you as a threat, they'll isolate you. See you as a pawn. They'll use you. See you as ordinary. They'll ignore you. But what if? You chose your perception. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the strongest. You just have to appear as whatever the situation demands. Human interaction is rarely pure. Every conversation is an exchange of power. Even the lightest chat holds subtle dynamics. Who's leading? Who's adapting? Who's truly in control? Now here's the masterstroke. The real players, those who truly dominate the world, they don't shout. They don't brag. They don't demand attention. They guide from the shadows. They influence without pressure. They plant ideas in silence and let others carry them forward, believing it was their own thought. You've seen it happen. That person who gets everyone to follow their lead without ever saying, "Follow me." That's no accident. That's skill. And here lies the difference between the clever and the wise. The clever win by being right. The wise win by making others feel right. That's the true brilliance of pretending to be a fool. It's not about staying silent to avoid drama. It's about shaping decisions, It's about guiding without resistance. It's about letting others think the power was theirs, when all along it was yours. True intelligence isn't about showing off. It's about orchestrating the world around you without anyone even realizing you're the one pulling the strings. And that is the highest form of power. If you think being smart is just about knowing more than others, you've only scratched the surface. Real mastery lies in influencing people without triggering their defenses. You could win an argument and still lose control, or you could say nothing and guide the entire outcome. Let me ask you something. Would you rather be right in a debate or have the other person do exactly what you wanted while believing it was their idea all along? That's the difference between arrogance and wisdom. Arrogance craves applause. Wisdom only cares about results. Here's the secret. People never question ideas they think are their own. The moment they feel pressured, their ego resists. But give them breadcrumbs, little clues, subtle questions, a false sense of control, and they'll walk right into your plan, smiling. This is the art of indirect suggestion. It's invisible, undetectable, and almost impossible to resist. Want even more power? Combine this with strategic invisibility and the appearance of innocence. Now you're untouchable, because real influence, it doesn't feel like influence. It feels natural, effortless, like their own idea blossoming in their mind, when in truth, you planted the seed. The best manipulators never need to raise their voice. They don't seek the spotlight. They don't win through confrontation. They win by disappearing at the exact moment the other person thinks they're in control. That's when the game is truly decided, when their guard is down, when their ego is calm, when they believe they've won. And that's when you strike. Silently, subtly, with total precision. This is the highest level of social intelligence. It's not just knowing more, it's knowing how to use what you know at the right moment, in the right way, with the right perception. Because uncontrolled intelligence, it creates enemies, but well-managed intelligence builds empires. So ask yourself, do you want to be the one who constantly tries to look smart, or the one who plays the entire room like a chessboard without ever being noticed? Now, here's the ultimate purpose of everything we've covered: pretending to be a fool, strategic silence, patience as a weapon, control over perception. It's not just about staying safe. It's not just about winning small games. It's about becoming unreachable. Not unreachable because you're physically absent. Unreachable because you're untouchable. Because no one can push your buttons. The most powerful people in history weren't slaves to opinion. They didn't react to provocation. They didn't beg for attention. They stood still while the world tried to shake them. Why? Because they were anchored, because they knew that if the world can provoke you, the world controls you. But when you stop reacting, when you stop needing validation, when you stop trying to prove anything, you become dangerous. While others scream and scramble, you move in silence, pulling strings behind the curtain. And the most incredible part, if you've made it this far, it means a part of you already knew all this. You just didn't have the words for it. Until now. So here's your choice. You can keep playing the game like everyone else, reacting, defending, explaining, begging to be seen, or you can start moving differently, observe more, speak less, plan deeper, act precisely, influence without effort, disappear when necessary, and reappear only when it changes everything. Be the person they can't predict, can't read, can't manipulate. Because the most dangerous players in the world are those who already won before anyone even noticed they were playing. If this message resonated with you, I want you to comment below. Silence is my advantage. That's how I'll know you're part of the few who truly understand what it means to move like a strategist. And if this video opened your eyes, subscribe not because you need more content, but because what's coming next is for those who are done being spectators and are ready to become architects of their own power. This isn't for everyone. This is for the ones who lead without needing to be followed. See you in the next video. Or maybe not, because those who truly value their attention choose carefully who they give it to.